everyone, this is the Dark Trick Huntsman. Welcome to a brand new series on the channel called Drawn for Boss. This is where I take boss battles from video games and I draw them in my own artistic flavor, I guess you could call it. This series was recommended to me by Juju and Taylor, who wanted to get into art and wanted some inspiration. So I asked if they wanted to see how I draw my artwork, and they said sure, and that's where this series comes from. Now, today's artwork is in the form of the Mawgu from the video game Nicktoons Battle for Volcano Island. I remember this game from my childhood and liking it, and yeah, it does have some flaws, but I think out of all the Nicktoons games, in between this one and Globs of Doom as my favorite. Now the funny thing is, they hyped the Mawgu up for this game, because, oh, look at that avatar of the video game. I'm so sorry. But if you look in the instruction manual, yeah, remember these guys? Remember when we actually had these? The thing about the Mawgu is when you go into the enemies and it describes them, all they show you is the volcano. They want to hype up this guy's design, and what I'm about to show you, it's not really that interesting per se. But enough about that, let's get into what you're going to need. Now, for me personally, I only need a few things. Obviously, I'm going to need my white paper, which is what I am going to be drawing the Mawgu on. I usually have about 4 pencils on standby, so if one's outrun or one doesn't have a good eraser, I can always go to another one. Now, I always have a black marker, or in this case, a Sharpie, so I can always outline what I want to color in, which goes into today's colors. Now, the Mawgu is really purple, so I have 4 purple crayons on standby. Really light purple crayons and dark purple crayons. You're going to need them if you want to do the coloring. I prefer black and white, but for this series I decided why not step out of my comfort zone. Let's get into some coloring. This is him right here. This is the purple guy that they hyped up for some reason, but oh, I'm a monster. I'm here to actually, I don't remember what he wanted. Something about rolling volcano island or something. I don't know. It wasn't that memorable. But with that said, I have my inspiration. Let's get started.
Fools! You have seen your doom.
Let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start with his head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line at the top of the page here and make a little crevice right here to signify the top of his head, which then I'm going to go ahead and draw down for his top end, because he does have a really gaping mouth, which I'm going to put here. And now I'm going to draw his really massive chin that the Crimson Chin himself would be jealous of. Seriously, that's a big chin. Like, I don't know why they made him that big of a chin, but I digress. So there is his massive head. Now his eyes are a little faint, but you can see them. And what I'm going to do for him, I'm going to draw 2 lines kind of close to the sides of his head, and I'm going to draw his eyes like that. He has much smaller eyes in game, but I guess you could say he's quite the looker. Now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to draw his shoulders, because his shoulders are a little above the top of his head. And then I'm going to make his little arms for later. And I'm going to draw them there. And I'm going to finish them down here. Now, one thing he does have, he has like an open gut area that I guess his feet would have been. He did have feet in the concept art, which will lock them in the game, but thanks to the internet, you can see it for yourself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a little line right here, and that's going to signify the bottom. So now I'm going to do his little gut there. Now I'm going to draw thin lines, and I'm going to draw the outside. And now I'm going to draw the rock side of him gaping out. So now I can go ahead and connect the pieces. And I could now move on to his little side arms, which I guess I wanted this side to be really big arms. I should really go ahead and fix that. And this is why when I color, I eventually want to do Sharpies. That way I can go ahead and remove any eraser parts that I didn't want in there. Perfect. And now he's got big arms and big gauntlets. I guess you could call them gauntlets. I don't know why he would have any different arms, but I digress. Now, part of his rock form is I'm going to have 2 half circles across here. And then I'll connect with that. Perfect. And now I'm going to go ahead and erase the connecting parts. That way it kind of looks like he has rocks warping around his arms. So now I could draw lines right here, and I could begin drawing his fingers. Now he does have rock fingers, so eventually they are going to be a different color compared to his other parts. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish it off by having big thumbs over here and have his hands finish off by going around here and finishing off his hands. I know it looks weird, but it also looks weird in game, so bear with me on that. Then of course he has 2 little rock pecs that he likes to have. And on his back is like a rock shoulder guard, so I'm going to put that there. And that's about it. That's really all you need for the Mawgu. Now we get into the detail part. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a line going across down there because he has that. And I'm going to go ahead and make the rest of his rock features across there. Now, the Mawgu, I don't know what he's really made of, whether he's made of rock and ooze or whatever. They don't really explain his origin much, other than, oh, he's our ancient enemy. We need to stop him because he's doing evil things. Because he's evil. Marmy remember jumping, evil. That's really about it for his rock features. And now, we move on to phase 2, which is the Sharpie. So now that we have the pencil lining, I can now fully Sharpie in everything. I mainly do this phase again for the coloring phase, but you don't have to if you don't want to. I do it just in case. But what I remember most about the Mawgu was his boss fight, because it was really similar to the first boss of the game, other than the fact that, oh, look at that, he's our final boss, so he gets a really intimidating arena, and really, quote-unquote, intense boss theme, but it's sad when your Game Boy and DS counterparts put in a lot more effort to the music than your console versions. Because you can listen to both versions online now, and I have to say I like the Game Boy Advance version a little bit more, mainly because it is different compared to the intense, oh, final boss theme, make it dark. Even though it's a giant purple rock monster thing going against a ghost teenager and an underwater sponge. A kid who for some reason gets berries and a starfish that has a really big jumping phase. Like, what was that for Patrick? He just loved to jump, and that was about it. Alright. You'll have to excuse me if this side's a little more flimsy than this side. My tripod's like right here, so I have to be really careful where I place my hands, which means I don't get as good of a view as I normally would when I'm not recording. I'm gonna have to figure out a way around that in the future. But right now, it seems to be doing okay. Now I'll do the lines there, and that means I gotta do the lines over on the other side once I remember. Alright, let's see. Yeah, actually that would be good if I connected those over there. Alright, there we go. Now we do the lines over here. We'll be ready for phase 3. That is the coloring phase. Now, I don't really focus much on the background as more I do the character itself. I'm going to have a white background, but of course later I could probably Photoshop in a background if I really wanted to. Now, the rock features are a really dark purple, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to take our violet purple crayon. I sound like a Bob Ross commercial. Like, we're going to display the colors at the bottom of the screen. I might as well name off the ones I'm using right now. So I got Wisteria. Wisteria, that's a weird name for a color. And then we got Plum. We also have Purple's Mountain's Majesty. Purple's Mountain's Majesty. Let me try that again. Purple Mountain's Majesty. And finally, our normal violet purple. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use Purple Mountain's Majesty first, because I really only use that to emphasize the little floating energy he has. So I'm going to go ahead and color in that part of the Mawgu, and I'm going to go ahead and make little lines showing that he does indeed fly. And that's really it for that color. Now I'm going to take the lighter purple, and I'm going to do, I guess you could kind of say his flesh, but he doesn't really have flesh or skin. He really just has ooze dropping out. Ivan Ooze would be proud to obey this monster, but no, he just brings out 2 robotic scorpions, and that's his giant massive plan, along with hypnotizing the rest of the Angel Grove parents to jump off a cliff. Yeah, really, think about that for a second. He hypnotizes the parents after they're done to leap off a cliff and pretty much fall off the face of the earth. That is dark for Power Rangers. It's like, oh, we have a giant Megazord fight. It's so much fun. Oh yeah, back to the parents. Leap to our doom. Leap to our doom. Man, like, I haven't seen the new Power Rangers movie. I really should, because I hear there's some good parts about it. It's just, I haven't really been to the movies that much. I really should go, especially for Infinity War. That's gonna be a good movie. Okay. That's just about all of his lighter purple parts. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take Plum, and I'm gonna go ahead and make that his face. That way I can do his eyes and his shoulder rocks a little different color. That way his head kind of stands out as if it's looking more closer towards you and popped out. Yeah, I mean, the last time I saw anything Power Rangers related was Power Rangers Ninja Steel, which I heard wasn't that bad. I did see Dino Charge, and I really didn't enjoy Dino Charge. But other than that, I haven't really seen too much of Power Rangers. I will admit, they're doing a good job keeping up with their theme songs. There's something always energetic about hearing a Power Rangers theme song. I also like how they're incorporating more Go-Go Power Rangers into it, because that is really their big catchphrase that they like to do. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and I might as well just do this one just to get that done, and then I'll use the last purple, go ahead and finish it off. But I remember seeing Megaforce, and I did not like Megaforce. Not one bit. Oh, man. Let's not talk about Megaforce. Okay, now we got our normal purple. And we're gonna start by doing his shoulder pads. Not really his shoulder pads, more so his back, I guess. And I'll go ahead and do his rock abs, to his mouth, which he does breathe out ooze, so we got that at least. And there we go. That is the Mawgu. But the last thing I have to do, of course, is I have to do my own signature. So I'm gonna do the Torchwick Huntsman. There we go. And I will now bring it more towards the camera. There we go. That is my depiction of the Mawgu. Now, if you guys would like to be featured, or at least have your artwork featured, in an episode of Drawing the Boss, go ahead and draw the Mawgu, because this is going to be a weekly series, and every week I am doing a brand new drawing. So if you would like to try your hand at the Mawgu, and you would like to see it in a future video to share with everyone else, I'll put a link to my Twitter page where you can share your Mawgu drawings to Drawn for Boss, and put in any information you want to put in, and I will put it in the video. And that's about it. So thank you guys so much for joining me for this episode of Drawn for Boss. I will see you guys next time for more bossing artwork. Yeah, I definitely need a new outro. Work in progress, I swear. Take care, everyone.